They thought he was just another gentle toymaker in his quaint workshop on Cedar Mill Row, crafting wooden delights that brought smiles to the children of Millbrook Valley. A quiet man in his early 50s with silver-streaked hair and kind eyes, who spent his days surrounded by the sweet scent of pine shavings and the soft whir of his lathe. The locals knew Marcus Fletcher as the man who could fix any broken toy and craft the most intricate mechanical wonders that seemed to move by magic. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. What the Stillwater Syndicate didn't realize was that Marcus Fletcher wasn't just any toymaker. Before settling in this peaceful corner of Vermont's rolling hills, he'd been Major Marcus Fuse Fletcher, the most innovative demolitions expert in the Army Corps of Engineers. His specialized unit had dismantled impossible devices and designed revolutionary controlled demolition techniques that saved countless lives during his 20-year career. Now, watching 3 Stillwater enforcers case his shop that crisp autumn morning, Marcus recognized the telltale signs of criminals marking new territory. Their expensive suits couldn't hide the military-grade combat boots they wore. Their manicured hands couldn't disguise the calluses from years of handling weapons. These weren't common thugs. They were professionals expanding their operation. Through his workshop windows, Marcus observed their movements with practiced precision, his weathered hands steadily sanding a delicate wooden carousel. His eyes, however, tracked every detail, the way they photographed sightlines with professional discretion, how they noted entry points and structural features. Even their seemingly casual conversation masked a tactical assessment of his property. "Mr. Fletcher?" young Tommy Morrison called out, the 13-year-old apprentice arriving for his usual Thursday lesson in woodworking. The boy's timing couldn't have been worse, showing up just as trouble was brewing. "Workshop's closed today, Tommy," Marcus called softly, his voice carrying that particular tone he'd used to command EOD teams in the field. "Head on home." The boy's expression shifted from disappointment to concern, but he knew better than to question his mentor's instructions. As Tommy disappeared down the cobblestone street, the first enforcer approached, tall and polished, with an artificial smile that didn't reach his cold eyes. Marcus recognized him from intelligence briefings he'd studied years ago. Victor Kane, former Special Forces demolitions expert turned criminal enforcer. His reputation for sophisticated intimidation made him all the more dangerous. "Charming establishment you've got here," Kane called out, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the workshop's wooden steps. His voice carried that particular tone of false friendliness Marcus remembered from countless high-stakes negotiations. Marcus kept his movements calm and deliberate, continuing to sand the carousel horse beneath his hands. "Something I can help you gentlemen with?" The other 2 enforcers flanked Kane as he entered, Morrison and Blackwood, according to Marcus's sources. Their positioning was professional, one by the main door, one drifting toward the rear entrance. Both wore shoulder holsters under their tailored jackets, and their eyes constantly scanned the workshop's interior, cataloging potential threats and tactical positions. "Actually," Kane smiled, removing his designer sunglasses with exaggerated courtesy, "we're here to help you. Millbrook Valley is changing, growing. Business owners need protection these days, insurance against unfortunate accidents." Marcus met his gaze steadily, remembering similar negotiations across conference tables. "In conflict zones. Got insurance, several policies. Not the kind you need," Kane's smile hardened. "Stillwater Syndicate, we provide specialized coverage, comprehensive, for a reasonable monthly contribution." Through the workshop's mirrors, Marcus noticed more. Men arriving, positioning themselves strategically around his property. 8 total now. They were taking this seriously. "And if I'm not interested in your coverage," Marcus's voice remained neutral, but carried the kind of quiet authority that made Kane's enforcers shift uneasily. 20 years of military service had taught him to read situations, to spot the moments. When violence hung by a thread, this was one of those moments. "Let me be clear, Mr. Fletcher," Marcus continued, his hands still moving steadily over the wooden carousel horse. "My establishment isn't interested. Neither are the other businesses you've been threatening. Millbrook Valley isn't your territory." Kane's hand drifted toward his jacket. "Wrong answer, old man. See, we're trying to be professional here, civilized. But some folks need a more direct demonstration of why our protection matters." "That a threat?" Marcus asked quietly. "That's business advice," Kane replied. "Think it over. We'll be back tonight for your answer. Make the smart choice. Hate to see anything happen to this nice place, or that young apprentice of yours." Marcus's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Kane caught it, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. "Touch." "My apprentice," Marcus said softly, "and you'll learn things about me you really don't want to know." Kane laughed, but there was an edge to it. "Tough talk for a Toymaker. Remember, tonight. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." As the enforcers pulled away, Marcus was already moving. He secured the workshop's front doors and headed to his private workspace in the back. From a hidden compartment beneath his workbench, he pulled out a carefully maintained field kit, military grade, containing specialized tools and components that had nothing to do with crafting toys. Inside its case were detailed notes about Stillwater Syndicate activities, protection rackets, weapons trafficking, patterns of intimidation. He'd been watching them for weeks, gathering intelligence out of old habits. His fingers traced familiar tools as he assembled them with practiced efficiency. The smart play was to pay their protection money, look the other way like everyone else. But Marcus hadn't spent 20 years diffusing impossible devices and saving lives, only to watch criminals devour a small town. Through his window, he spotted Stillwater members watching his workshop from various positions around town. They were doing surveillance, gathering intelligence for tonight. Professional work, but they'd made a crucial mistake. They thought they were dealing with a simple Toymaker, someone they could intimidate with threats and demonstrations of force. Instead, they'd given a former military demolitions expert exactly what he needed: probable cause to start dismantling their operation. Marcus allowed himself a small smile as he began his preparations. By threatening his workshop and his apprentice, they'd made it personal. By tonight, the Stillwater Syndicate would learn a hard lesson about judging a Toymaker. By his cover, his phone buzzed from his hidden surveillance position overlooking Main Street. A text from Sheriff Sarah Chen. "Spotted Stillwater at your place. Need to talk." Marcus typed back, "Tonight, after hours. Bring what you have on them." Another message, this one from Tommy. "Mr. Fletcher, men in suits watching our house. Dad wants to know if we should leave town." Marcus responded carefully, "Stay inside tonight. You're not their target." Stillwater's surveillance on the Morrison residence complicated things, but it also betrayed their ruthlessness. Through his modified security cameras, Marcus tracked syndicate members establishing watch positions around the workshop. 6 different enforcers rotating through predetermined spots, their movements suggesting formal military training. He'd counted 15 total operatives in town now, not counting Kane and his lieutenants. More than standard intimidation warranted. From his vantage point in the abandoned clock tower, Marcus documented their patterns in a small leather notebook. Stillwater wasn't just watching his workshop. They were monitoring traffic patterns, marking delivery routes, meeting with figures who slipped in and out of town under cover of darkness. This was about more than protection money. A movement caught his eye. Kane himself meeting with someone wearing a police uniform behind the hardware store. He adjusted his camera, recognizing Officer James Reed, The conversation was brief. Money changed hands. Marcus made another note. Stillwater was building infrastructure, not just muscle. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across Millbrook Valley as Marcus made his way back to the workshop through the network of alleys he'd carefully mapped. His military training had taught him to always know his terrain, and he'd spent months learning every corner of this town. Now that knowledge would serve a new purpose. Inside the workshop, he began his preparations. The upper floor windows offered clear lines of sight down both main streets. The storage cellar connected to old factory tunnels that ran beneath the town. Every workbench, every shelf, every floorboard could become an asset with proper planning. He was reverting to old habits, turning his territory into a tactical advantage. His contemplation was interrupted by Sheriff Chen slipping in through the back door. "You've got a problem," she said without preamble, spreading surveillance photos across his workbench. They showed Stillwater members at different locations throughout Millbrook Valley, outside businesses, monitoring traffic, meeting with masked figures. "Town's got a problem," Marcus corrected, studying the images. "How long have they been here?" Chen pointed to the dates on the photos. 3 months officially. Started small, just passing through, they said. Then they bought that old warehouse on Pine Street. Now they're offering protection to every business within 10 blocks. She indicated one photo showing Kane with Officer Reed. "Your department." Chen's jaw tightened. "Internal Affairs has been watching him, but nothing solid yet. Stillwater's careful. They learn from their mistakes." Not careful enough. Marcus pulled out his surveillance notes, showing Chen the patterns he'd observed. They're using the warehouse as a front. Late-night deliveries, heavy security, supplies that have nothing to do with storage. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. "You think they're stockpiling weapons?" Marcus shook his head. "Distribution hub. They're expanding territory, setting up infrastructure. The protection racket isn't about money, it's about controlling trade routes." Chen examined the notes with growing concern. "How do you know all this?" Marcus hesitated only briefly. 20 years as an Army EOD specialist, took down operations. Like this, same patterns, different faces, understanding dawned in Chen's eyes. "That's why you're not paying them. That's why they're coming back tonight." Marcus moved to a large cabinet behind his workbench, entering a combination into a hidden panel. The back swung open, revealing carefully organized military gear, his old equipment, maintained out of habit all these years. "That's why I'm going to give them exactly what they want." Chen's eyes widened at the arsenal. "Marcus, if they're coming to send a message, they're coming to make an example, create fear, standard tactics." Marcus began checking his gear with practiced efficiency. "But they don't know what I know." "Which is?" Chen pressed. "Stillwater's got a reputation across 3 states. Never been caught, never left witnesses. That means they're professionals, ex-military probably. Kane was in special forces before his discharge." "How is that helpful?" A small smile crossed Marcus's face. "Professionals follow patterns. Patterns can be predicted. More importantly, they can be used." A noise from outside drew Marcus and Chen to the workshop windows. Multiple Stillwater vehicles converging on the area, at least 6 black SUVs positioning themselves strategically, right on schedule. "You should go," Marcus said, activating his workshop's modified security system. Plausible deniability. Chen hesitated at the back door. "Marcus, if they're bringing in force—" "They're not here to kill me," Marcus interrupted. "They're here to make a statement, which means they'll bring an audience. Other business owners they're pressuring. This isn't just about my workshop anymore." As Chen slipped away, Marcus reviewed his preparations one final time. Few people knew that his skill with mechanical toys hadn't started as a hobby. It began in the dusty workshops of Baghdad, teaching local children to spot and avoid IEDs by showing them how similar mechanisms worked in harmless toys. That experience had saved countless young lives. His fingers traced the grain of a half-finished music box on his workbench, remembering a similar box he'd crafted in Kandahar. That one contained specialized sensors, helping his team detect a network of underground bunkers. The delicate mechanisms that now brought joy to children had once served a darker purpose. The clock struck 7, and Marcus's security feeds showed Kane's main force arriving, 20 operatives plus 4 SUVs. They were bringing tools for destruction, but also something else, something that made Marcus's trained eye narrow. Equipment cases with specialized markings, the kind used for handling volatile materials. His encrypted phone lit up with a message from Kane. Last chance to make the smart play. Another from Tommy. Strange trucks by the lumber yard. Dad says they're unloading weird equipment. And a third from Chen. Multiple reports of Stillwater activity near downtown. Marcus, something's not right. They're setting up some kind of perimeter. Marcus answered Tommy first. Stay away from the windows. Keep everyone inside. Then Chen. I know. Found something interesting about their warehouse operation. We need to talk after. He didn't respond to Kane. The first rock crashed through his workshop window at exactly 7:30 p.m., right on schedule. Professional crews liked precision and organization. Through his cameras, Marcus watched Stillwater members dragging local business owners from their vehicles, forced witnesses to what happened to those who refused protection. Bring them around front, Kane ordered, his voice carrying in the evening air. Make sure they have a good view. Marcus stood in the shadows of his workshop, his specialized equipment. Ready, watching through the broken window as Kane approached with Morrison and Blackwood flanking him. Could have done this the easy way, Kane called out. Could have been reasonable. Now you have to be an example. Marcus's voice carried clearly in response. Only example being set tonight is what happens when you target the wrong workshop. Kane laughed, the sound echoing across the tense evening air. Big words from a man who makes toys for children. Morrison, Blackwood. Teach our friend about Stillwater's version of business etiquette. The two enforcers approached carrying sledgehammers. Behind them, more syndicate members began smashing displays and workbenches, their gang insignia being painted across the workshop's weathered walls. That's when Marcus triggered his first countermeasure. The workshop's ventilation system, modified with military-grade sensors, detected the faint traces of explosive residue on the Stillwater operatives' equipment. His suspicions were confirmed. They weren't just here for intimidation. Through his thermal imaging, he spotted team members setting up what looked like demolition charges around his property. Professional grade, military spec. They weren't planning to just vandalize his workshop, they intended to erase it completely. Marcus's mind flashed back to his last active mission, the one that had led to his retirement. A terrorist cell in northern Syria, using a children's toy factory as cover for their bomb-making operation. The same precision tools that crafted innocent playthings were being used to manufacture devices designed to kill indiscriminately. The parallel wasn't lost. On him, Stillwater wasn't just running protection rackets. They were setting up something bigger, something that required demolition expertise. Their warehouse operation, the military-grade equipment, the precise tactical planning. They were building infrastructure for something that went far beyond simple criminal enterprise. His workshop's security system highlighted strategic positions where Stillwater's teams were placing their charges. Their work was professional, methodical, but they'd made a crucial mistake. They assumed they were dealing with a civilian target, not someone who'd spent 2 decades studying the art of controlled demolition. Marcus moved silently through his domain, using hidden passages he'd built into the workshop's design. Each step brought back memories of other operations. Other times, he'd had to think 3 moves ahead to prevent catastrophe. Baghdad, 2004. His team racing against time to dismantle a daisy chain of devices threatening a school district. The solution had come from understanding the bomb maker's methodology, recognizing patterns in their work that betrayed their training. Kandahar, 2008. Tracking a weapons smuggling operation that used children's toys as cover. His knowledge of mechanical design had helped identify which toys had been modified to transport detonators and timing devices. Syria, 2015. His final mission, where he discovered that the most dangerous adversaries weren't random terrorists, but highly trained professionals who turned their military expertise to criminal enterprises. Now, watching Stillwater's demolition teams work with practiced efficiency, Marcus recognized the same patterns. These weren't common thugs playing with explosives. They were experts with formal training, probably ex-military like Kane. Their techniques betrayed their background. Special Forces, EOD, combat engineers. His encrypted phone vibrated. A message from an old military contact in the FBI's counterterrorism unit ran those serial numbers from the warehouse surveillance, specialized demolition equipment, military grade. Same type used in a string of precision heists across 3 states. High-security facilities hit with surgical precision, no traces left. Another piece clicked into place. Stillwater wasn't just using demolitions for intimidation. They were building a specialized team for something bigger. The protection racket, the warehouse operation, the military-grade equipment. They were establishing infrastructure for high-level operations. Through his workshop's hidden observation points, Marcus watched Kane directing his teams with tactical precision. The man moved with the confidence of someone used to handling dangerous materials, his commands betraying extensive demolitions training. Marcus's mind raced through possible scenarios, analyzing patterns and connections. The warehouse location, the delivery routes they were securing, the technical expertise they were assembling. Millbrook Valley wasn't just another territory to control. Its location, its infrastructure, its proximity to major transportation hubs, they were building something unprecedented. His phone buzzed again. Chen. Marcus, got reports of similar equipment being moved into their warehouse. Industrial grade. Stuff, demolition gear. This isn't just about your workshop. Marcus typed back, no, it's not. They're not here to destroy my business. They're recruiting. They saw something in my work, my designs. They're building a team for something bigger. Through his thermal imaging, he spotted Kane examining one of his mechanical toys with professional interest. The man's expertise showed in how he analyzed the intricate mechanisms, recognizing the precision engineering involved. That's when Marcus understood their true purpose. They weren't here to shut him down. They were here to force him to join them. His skills, his expertise, his understanding of precision mechanics and controlled demolitions. He was meant to be their next acquisition. The realization brought a grim smile to his face. 20 years of military service had taught him to recognize when he was being played. Kane and his operators thought they were running a sophisticated recruitment operation. Instead, they'd given a former EOD expert exactly what he needed: insight into their methodology and access to their personnel. His phone lit up one final time, a message from his old commanding officer. Checked those. Names you sent: Kane, Morrison, Blackwood, all ex-military EOD, part of a unit that went dark after private contractors offered them triple pay. They're building something big, Marcus. Watch your back. Through his workshop's cameras, Marcus observed more. Stillwater vehicles arriving, carrying additional equipment. They were setting up for something beyond simple intimidation. The demolition charges weren't just for show. They were a demonstration of capabilities, a calling card from one expert. Do another. Kane's voice carried clearly through the evening air. You think we don't know who you are, Major Fletcher? Your reputation in the Corps was legendary. The things you could do with mechanical designs, timing devices. We're not here to destroy your work. We're here to offer you a real opportunity to use your skills. Marcus's hand tightened on his. Specialized equipment. 2 decades of experience told him this was the moment when everything changed. Stillwater had shown their hand, revealing their true purpose. Now it was time to show them why some experts were better left in retirement. Your skills are being wasted here, Major, Kane continued, gesturing at the workshop's displays of wooden toys and intricate mechanisms. Making playthings for children when you could be part of something revolutionary. Our operation needs someone with your particular expertise. Marcus watched through his security feeds as Stillwater teams continued placing charges with professional precision. Their work confirmed his analysis. These weren't meant to destroy, but to demonstrate. Each charge was positioned to create a controlled cascade effect, a signature he recognized from high-level military operations. His encrypted phone lit up with rapid-fire intelligence updates. Chen. Just intercepted communications. They've got similar teams moving into position in 3 other towns across the state. His FBI contact cross-referenced their equipment signatures, matches specialized demolition gear used in a series of precision vault breaches, high-security facilities hit with military accuracy. Tommy's father, Mr. Fletcher, seeing strange activity at the old mining complex. Men in tactical gear setting up equipment. The pieces assembled themselves in Marcus's tactical mind. Stillwater wasn't just building a criminal enterprise. They were assembling an elite demolitions unit, recruiting experts like him to create something unprecedented. The protection rackets, the warehouse operations, the territorial expansion, all cover for their real objective. Through his thermal imaging, he spotted Kane's teams establishing a sophisticated perimeter. Their equipment cases contained more than just demolition charges, specialized sensors, precision timing devices, the kind of gear used in highly technical operations. This wasn't just about intimidation anymore. They were setting up a practical demonstration of their capabilities. Times are changing, Major. Kane's voice carried that particular tone of professional respect Marcus remembered from his military. On days, private sector, government contracts, corporate interest, the lines are blurring. Someone with your skills could write their own ticket. Or, he gestured to the demolition charges positioned around the workshop, you could lose everything. Your choice. Marcus's mind flashed to his final mission briefing in Syria, where he'd first encountered signs of military-grade demolitions expertise being used for private operations. The precision, the methodology, the technical sophistication it had pointed to something evolving beyond traditional threat patterns. Now, years later, he was seeing the culmination of those warnings. His security system highlighted new thermal signatures approaching from the north. More Stillwater operatives, but these moved differently. Through his specialized optics, he noted their equipment, advanced diagnostic tools, precision measuring devices, the kind of gear used in high-level demolitions planning. You're not just building a team, Marcus spoke finally, his voice carrying clearly through the workshop. You're creating an infrastructure. Military expertise, corporate backing, territorial control, preparing for something bigger than heists or protection rackets. Kane's smile showed genuine appreciation. I told them you'd understand. Look around, Major. The world's changing. Governments, corporations, private military contractors. The real power is shifting. We're positioning ourselves to be part of that change by terrorizing small towns, by establishing networks, infrastructure, expertise. Kane gestured to the sophisticated equipment his teams had deployed. These demonstrations, they're not just about intimidation. They're proof of concept, showing our backers what's possible with the right personnel, the right resources. Marcus's phone vibrated again, his military contact. Cross-referenced Stillwater's corporate connections. Shell companies are linked to private military contractors, defense industry players. Big money, serious political coverage. Another piece clicked into place. The sophistication of their operation, the military-grade equipment, the emphasis on recruiting specific expertise. Stillwater was building something beyond a criminal enterprise. They were creating a private army of technical specialists, backed by corporate power and political influence. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched their teams continue their precise work. Each movement, each placement, each tactical decision betrayed years of formal training. These weren't just ex-military-turned criminals, they were experts being assembled for a specific purpose. His mind raced through implications, analyzing patterns like he'd done countless times in the field. The warehouse location, the transportation, routes they were securing, the technical infrastructure they were establishing. Millbrook Valley wasn't chosen at random. Its position, its resources, its relative isolation, all part of a larger strategic plan. "You're not just recruiting me," Marcus stated, the full picture becoming clear. "You're replicating what we did in the core. Building specialized units, establishing forward operating bases, creating networks of technical expertise. But this time, it's not for national security. It's for whoever can pay," Kane confirmed. "Governments, corporations, private interests, they all need deniable assets with our particular skills. Imagine it, Major. No more bureaucratic oversight, no more political constraints, pure technical excellence, applied wherever the market demands." Marcus's security feeds highlighted more Stillwater vehicles arriving, carrying additional sophisticated equipment. This wasn't just a show of force anymore. It was a full technical demonstration, designed to appeal to his expertise and professional pride. But they'd made a crucial miscalculation. 20 years of military service hadn't just taught Marcus how to handle explosives. It had shown him the importance of using those skills responsibly. The same expertise that could save lives could also destroy them, and that choice defined everything. Through his modified security system, Marcus detected new signals emerging from Stillwater's equipment, sophisticated electronic signatures that made his military-trained instincts surge to high alert. Their demolition charges weren't just for show, they contained advanced technological components he'd only seen in classified military operations. His workshop's specialized sensors picked up traces of cutting-edge explosive compounds, far beyond anything available on the civilian market. The kind of material that could level a city block without leaving trace evidence, or penetrate hardened security vaults with surgical precision. "Your attention to detail is remarkable," Kane observed, studying one of Marcus's mechanical toys through narrowed eyes. "The gearing ratios, the precision timing, reminds me of some specialized devices we used to handle. Remember that operation in Kazakhstan? The mining facility?" Marcus's jaw tightened. That classified mission had involved dismantling a network of sophisticated timed devices threatening a uranium processing plant. The solution had come from understanding how precision mechanical timing could be used to create cascading effects, knowledge he now used to craft intricate toys. "Those skills haven't faded," Kane continued, gesturing to his teams. "Morrison, show the Major what we're working with." One of the enforcers opened a specialized case, revealing equipment that made Marcus's breath catch. Next-generation timing. Devices, molecular-level detonators, smart materials that could be programmed at the chemical level. Technology that shouldn't exist outside of military research labs. Impressive, isn't it? Kane smiled, noting Marcus's recognition. "Our corporate partners have resources that make military budgets look primitive. We're not just building a team, Major. We're advancing the entire field." Through his thermal imaging, Marcus spotted more Stillwater operatives establishing positions around the workshop's perimeter. Their movements suggested specialized training in handling volatile materials. These weren't just ex-military. They were experts in cutting-edge demolitions technology. His encrypted phone lit up with urgent messages. His FBI contact just decoded their equipment signatures. Components match experimental prototypes stolen from advanced weapons research facilities. Technology that was supposed to be theoretical, Chen. Marcus, getting reports of strange energy readings from their warehouse. Whatever they're storing there, it's not standard equipment. Tommy's father, military-type vehicles moving into the old industrial district, setting up some kind of technical operation. Marcus's tactical mind raced through implications. Stillwater wasn't just using advanced technology, they were testing it, preparing to deploy it on a massive scale. The protection rackets, the territorial expansion, the recruitment of experts, all groundwork for something unprecedented. "Think bigger, Major," Kane urged, his voice carrying that particular tone of someone revealing their true hand. "Remember how limited we were by conventional methods? Having to rely on crude materials, imprecise timing, that's all changing. We're pushing the boundaries of what's possible." Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus observed their technical teams deploying equipment with practiced precision. Each component revealed new levels of sophistication, smart materials that could be remotely programmed, nanoscale timing devices, explosive compounds that could be controlled at the molecular level. His mind flashed to research proposals he'd reviewed before retiring, theoretical papers about next-generation demolitions technology, ideas that had been deemed too advanced, too dangerous to pursue. Now, he was seeing those concepts made real in the hands of people who answered only to private interests. "Your workshop's location isn't random," Kane continued, moving to a wall. "Map of the region. The geological composition, the underground infrastructure, the proximity to key transportation routes. Perfect for what we're developing. The old mining complex. Ideal for testing advanced materials without detection. Marcus's security feeds highlighted new thermal signatures, specialized testing equipment being moved into position around town. They weren't just demonstrating their capabilities, they were preparing for full-scale technical operations. The corporate backing, Marcus probed, buying time while his systems analyzed their equipment signatures. It's not just about funding, is it? They're providing technical resources, research facilities, things even the military can't access. Kane's smile showed genuine enthusiasm. "Private sector innovation, Major. No bureaucratic oversight, no ethical committees, no political constraints. Pure technical advancement driven by market forces. The possibilities are infinite." Through his specialized sensors, Marcus detected new energy patterns emerging from their equipment. Frequencies that shouldn't exist outside theoretical physics. Labs, power signatures that defied conventional understanding. Whatever Stillwater was developing, it went beyond traditional demolitions technology. His phone vibrated with urgent updates. His military contact traced their corporate connections to classified research programs, advanced materials development, experimental energy weapons, stuff that was supposed to be decades away from practical application. Chen. Environmental sensors picking up unusual readings across town. Whatever they're testing, it's affecting local infrastructure at the molecular level. Tommy. "Mr. Fletcher, weird lights coming from the old mine shafts. Dad says his engineering equipment is showing impossible readings." The pieces assembled themselves in Marcus's tactical mind, forming a picture more dangerous than he'd imagined. Stillwater wasn't just building a criminal empire or advancing demolitions technology. They were developing weapons that could reshape the physical world itself. "The protection racket," Marcus stated, understanding dawning. "It's not about money or territory. You're establishing containment zones, areas where you can test these new technologies without drawing attention." "Smart as ever, Major," Kane confirmed. "Small towns, isolated communities, perfect environments for controlled testing." By the time anyone realizes what's happening, we'll have proof of concept for capabilities that will revolutionize the entire field. Marcus's workshop sensors detected new frequencies emanating from their equipment, patterns that made his specialized monitoring devices spike with warning signals. The technology they were deploying wasn't just advanced, it was actively changing the physical properties of its surroundings. Through hidden observation points, he watched their technical teams establishing a sophisticated network around his property. Each component revealed new levels of technological evolution, materials that could phase shift on command, energy fields that could alter structural integrity at the atomic level, timing devices that could manipulate local space-time parameters. This isn't just about demolitions anymore, Marcus realized, his voice carrying the weight of 2 decades of military experience. You're developing something that goes beyond physical destruction, technologies that can alter reality itself. Kane's expression turned serious. The future of warfare isn't about breaking things, Major. It's about controlling how reality itself behaves. Imagine being able to selectively alter the physical properties of any target, turn solid walls to liquid, make reinforced bunkers collapse under their own molecular structure, create controlled quantum effects that can bypass any security system. Marcus's security feeds captured their technical teams, deploying more specialized equipment. Each device emitted signatures that defied conventional detection methods. They weren't just showing off their capabilities, they were creating a testing ground for technologies that could fundamentally change the nature of tactical operations. His encrypted phone buzzed with increasing urgency. His FBI contact. Energy signatures match theoretical patterns for quantum-level material manipulation, technology that was purely theoretical in military research programs. Chen, getting reports of structural anomalies across town, buildings showing impossible stress patterns, materials behaving in ways that defy physics. Tommy's father, my engineering instruments are going haywire. Whatever they're doing is affecting the fundamental properties of local infrastructure. Through his workshop's specialized monitoring systems, Marcus observed patterns that made his military-trained mind race with implications. Stillwater wasn't just threatening his business or the town. They were preparing to test weapons that could rewrite the rules of physical reality. The stakes had just escalated beyond anything his military experience had prepared him for. This wasn't just about protecting his workshop or exposing a criminal operation. He was facing technology that could revolutionize warfare itself in the hands of people who answered only to private interests and profit margins. Your expertise. With precision mechanics, Kane gestured toward Marcus's workbench, where intricate toy mechanisms lay partially assembled. It's not just about entertainment, is it? These designs, the timing mechanisms, the interlocking components, they're training tools, teaching you to work with ever smaller tolerances, ever more precise movements. Marcus's security systems detected new energy signatures pulsing from Stillwater's equipment. The frequencies matched theoretical patterns he'd studied in his final years of service, proposals for devices that could manipulate matter at the quantum level. Through his specialized optics, he observed their technical teams establishing what appeared to be a containment grid around his property. The equipment they used emitted signatures that made his most advanced sensors fluctuate wildly. Whatever they were preparing to demonstrate went beyond conventional physics. His encrypted phone continued delivering urgent updates. His military contact just decoded their research protocols. They're not just developing new weapons, they're creating tools for selective reality manipulation, technology that can choose which laws of physics apply to specific targets. Chen, Marcus, the old factory district is showing impossible structural changes, materials shifting between states, metal behaving like liquid, concrete developing new molecular patterns. A message from a quantum physics researcher he'd consulted. On his last military assignment, those energy signatures you sent, they match theoretical patterns for controlled quantum entanglement. Someone's figured out how to weaponize quantum mechanics. Kane moved to one of the specialized cases his teams had brought in, entering a complex security code. The case opened to reveal something that made Marcus's decades of military experience scream warnings. A device that seemed to bend light around itself, its components shifting and realigning in ways that shouldn't be possible. Our latest. In prototype, Kane explained, his voice carrying genuine pride. Quantum-level demolitions technology. Instead of destroying targets, it selectively alters their fundamental properties. Turn vault walls permeable, make security systems forget they exist, create temporal loops that bypass any defense. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched their technical teams establishing a sophisticated testing perimeter. Each piece of equipment they deployed seemed to distort the very reality around it, creating zones where normal physical laws became optional. His specialized sensors detected new patterns emerging, energy signatures that suggested they weren't just preparing for a demonstration. They were creating a controlled testing environment for technology that could rewrite the rules of material existence. The corporate backing, Marcus probed further, his tactical mind racing through implications. They're not just providing resources, they're supplying theoretical research, aren't they? Knowledge that was supposed to be decades away from practical application. Kane's smile turned predatory. You've always been quick, Major. Yes, our partners have access to research that makes military science look primitive. Quantum mechanics, temporal manipulation, reality phase shifting. We're turning theoretical physics into practical applications. Marcus's monitoring systems highlighted new anomalies forming around their equipment, spaces where time seemed to flow differently, areas where solid matter displayed impossible properties, zones where causality itself appeared to become negotiable. His phone buzzed again, his FBI contact. Energy readings from their warehouse match patterns associated with experimental quantum research facilities. They're generating effects that should only exist in theoretical models. Tommy's father, an engineering professor. The structural changes are spreading. Whatever they're testing is affecting the fundamental properties of matter across the entire industrial district. A cryptic message from an unknown number. They've done it. Quantum-level demolitions, the ability to selectively alter reality itself. This goes beyond weapons. They're developing tools to rewrite the basic rules of existence. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed patterns that made his extensive military experience seem suddenly inadequate. Stillwater wasn't just threatening his workshop or the town. They were preparing to demonstrate technology that could change the nature of reality itself. The implications went beyond warfare, beyond conventional threats. They were developing the ability to selectively choose which laws of physics applied to any given target, and they wanted him to help perfect it. The workshop's modified sensors registered a sudden shift in energy patterns. Stillwater's technical teams were powering up their equipment, preparing for what Kane had called a practical demonstration. The air itself seemed to thicken with potential energy. "Let's start small," Kane announced, activating a handheld device that hummed with otherworldly frequencies. "Show you exactly what our new technology can accomplish." He pointed the device at a solid oak workbench, one Marcus had crafted himself from locally sourced timber. The wood began to shimmer, its molecular structure visibly shifting. In seconds, the bench transformed from solid matter into something that flowed like water before reforming into its original shape. "Perfect control at the quantum level," Kane explained, genuine excitement in his voice. "No destruction, no explosions, just selective manipulation of fundamental physical properties. And this," he gestured to the device, This is just the prototype. Marcus's military-trained mind raced through implications. His specialized monitoring systems were detecting cascading effects spreading beyond the demonstration area. Whatever they were using wasn't just affecting targeted objects, it was creating ripples in the basic fabric of local reality. His encrypted phone vibrated with urgent updates. A quantum physics researcher. These readings are impossible. They're not just manipulating matter, they're rewriting the local rules of causality. Chen, getting reports of strange phenomena across town, metal turning fluid, concrete becoming transparent, gravity behaving erratically in specific locations. Tommy, Mr. Fletcher, the toy soldiers you gave me, they're moving on their own. Dad says it's something to do with quantum fields affecting mechanical systems. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus observed Stillwater's technical teams deploying more advanced equipment. Each device they activated created new distortions in reality, zones where the normal laws of physics became optional. Impressive, isn't it? Kane smiled, noting Marcus's focused attention. But that's just the surface application. Watch this. He adjusted settings on the quantum manipulation device. A beam of distorted space-time struck one of Marcus's most intricate creations, a mechanical carousel with dozens of hand-carved horses. Instead of transforming its physical properties, the beam seemed to alter the toy's relationship with time itself. The carousel began moving, its horses galloping in perfect mechanical precision. But something was wrong. Each rotation seemed to exist in multiple temporal states simultaneously, past, present, and future, overlapping in ways that shouldn't be possible. Temporal manipulation, Kane explained. The ability to selectively adjust how objects and spaces interact with time itself. Imagine the applications, Major. Security systems that can be bypassed by shifting their temporal state, barriers that become permeable through quantum phase manipulation. Marcus's specialized sensors detected new anomalies forming throughout his workshop. The quantum effects weren't dissipating. They were building, creating cascading patterns of reality distortion that his equipment could barely measure. His phone buzzed with increasing urgency, his FBI contact. These effects match theoretical patterns for quantum cascade events. If they're not contained, they could start chain reactions affecting fundamental forces. Chen. The phenomena are spreading. We're getting reports of temporal anomalies affecting infrastructure across town. Traffic lights showing impossible patterns, electrical systems operating out of sync with normal time. A cryptic warning from an unknown source. They don't understand what they're playing with. Quantum manipulation at this scale could create reality fractures, points where the basic rules of existence become unstable. Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus watched patterns emerging that defied conventional physics. Stillwater's demonstration wasn't just showing off their technology, it was creating spreading zones of altered reality, areas where normal physical laws were breaking down. The protection racket, Marcus spoke carefully, buying time while his systems analyzed the growing anomalies. It's not just about controlling territory. You're establishing containment zones for when these effects get out of hand. Kane's expression shifted slightly. Smart as ever, Major. Yes, there have been incidents. Quantum manipulation technology isn't entirely predictable yet. That's why we need experts like you, people who understand precision mechanics at the deepest level. New energy signatures pulsed from their equipment, creating ripples in local space-time that made Marcus's most sophisticated sensors spike with warning signals. Whatever Stillwater was developing, it wasn't just changing physical properties. It was altering the fundamental nature of reality itself. His encrypted phone delivered more urgent updates. Theoretical physics expert. These patterns suggest they're not just manipulating quantum states, they're creating zones where reality itself becomes negotiable. Tommy's father. The effects are reaching the school. Scientific equipment in the labs is showing impossible readings. Basic physics experiments are producing results that violate fundamental laws. Chen, Marcus, we're losing control. Whatever they're demonstrating is starting to affect critical infrastructure, traffic control systems, power distribution, communication, networks. Everything's showing quantum interference patterns. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed effects that made his extensive military experience seem suddenly inadequate. Stillwater's technology wasn't just threatening physical security, it was creating cascading distortions in the basic fabric of reality. Kane moved to another specialized case, entering complex security protocols. The device he revealed seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, its components shifting between solid matter and pure energy in ways that defied comprehension. "Our latest development," he announced with pride, "quantum-level reality manipulation, the ability to selectively choose which laws of physics apply to any given space or object. Think about it, Major. No more need for crude explosives or mechanical breaching, just selective adjustment of fundamental forces." Marcus's workshop sensors detected new patterns forming, zones where causality itself seemed to become fluid, areas where the normal progression of cause and effect started to break down. The implications went beyond weapons or security systems. This technology could unravel the very fabric of existence. Through hidden observation points, he watched their technical teams establishing what appeared to be containment fields around his property. But his military experience told him something was wrong. The fields weren't just containing the quantum effects, they were amplifying them, creating feedback loops that threatened to spiral out of control. His phone buzzed one final time. His military contact. These readings match patterns from classified research into reality manipulation. Technology that was abandoned because it was too dangerous to control. Get out of there, Marcus. What they're playing with could tear reality apart. But retreat wasn't an option. If Stillwater's quantum manipulation technology was truly creating cascading reality distortions, running wouldn't help. These effects could spread beyond any containment, affecting the fundamental forces that held the world together. The stakes had just escalated from protecting a small town to preventing the potential unraveling of reality itself. And Marcus realized his skills with precision mechanics might be the only thing standing between Stillwater's ambitions and the complete breakdown of physical law. "Your toy designs," Kane gestured toward the still-rotating carousel, its horses now galloping through multiple temporal states simultaneously. "They're not just mechanical masterpieces. They're exercises in precision control, aren't they? Each gear, each component calibrated to microscopic tolerances. Perfect training for quantum-level manipulation." Marcus's specialized sensors detected new patterns emerging around the demonstration area. The quantum effects weren't just altering physical properties anymore. They were creating zones where the fundamental constants of the universe began to fluctuate. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, he observed their technical teams deploying what appeared to be reality anchors, devices designed to stabilize space-time in specific locations. But something was wrong. The anchors weren't just containing the quantum effects. They were creating interference patterns that threatened to amplify them exponentially. His encrypted phone continued delivering critical updates. A quantum mechanics expert. "The patterns we're seeing suggest reality phase separation, areas where different fundamental forces are becoming desynchronized. If this spreads, Chen, Marcus, the effects are reaching critical infrastructure, hospital equipment showing temporal desync, emergency response systems operating in multiple time states simultaneously." Tommy. The quantum physics textbooks, in the school library. The equations are changing while we watch. Teachers say the basic constants are shifting. Kane moved to another specialized case, revealing a device that seemed to fold space around itself. This is where your expertise becomes crucial, Major. Quantum manipulation requires perfect timing, flawless mechanical precision, just like your toys, but applied to the fabric of reality itself. Through his monitoring systems, Marcus detected new anomalies forming throughout the workshop. Equipment that normally measured simple physical properties was now showing impossible readings. Gravity fluctuating, electromagnetic fields pulsing with patterns that violated known physics, quantum states propagating through normal space-time. His military training screamed warnings as he observed their technical teams establishing what looked like a test grid across his property. Each node they activated created new distortions in local reality, zones where the normal rules of existence became increasingly unstable. His phone vibrated with mounting urgency. His FBI contact, "These interference patterns match theoretical models for quantum cascade failure. The effects could become self-sustaining, creating runaway reality distortions." A theoretical physicist, they're not just manipulating individual quantum states, they're creating entangled fields that affect fundamental forces across entire regions. The implications for causality, an anonymous message. The technology isn't stable. Previous tests have created zones where reality itself breaks down, entire areas where normal physics ceases to function. Through his specialized equipment, Marcus observed patterns that made his extensive military experience with conventional explosives seem suddenly primitive. Stillwater wasn't just demonstrating advanced technology, they were playing with forces that could unravel the basic structure of reality. The temporal manipulation, Marcus noted, watching the carousel horses gallop through impossible time states. It's creating feedback loops, isn't it? Effects that amplify themselves through quantum entanglement. Kane's expression showed a flash of concern. You see it, don't you? The potential, but also the challenges. That's why we need someone with your understanding of precision mechanics. These effects, they don't always behave as predicted. Marcus's workshop sensors detected new disturbance patterns, areas where quantum manipulation was creating cascading distortions in the fundamental forces holding matter together. The implications went beyond weapons or security systems. This technology could literally tear reality apart at the seams. His encrypted phone delivered final warnings. A quantum physics researcher. The interference patterns are becoming self-reinforcing. They're creating zones where different physical laws apply simultaneously. The fabric of reality can't handle that kind of stress indefinitely. Chen. Marcus, we're getting reports of temporal anomalies affecting critical systems across town. Emergency services can't coordinate. Their communications are existing in different time states. His old military commander. Those energy signatures match classified research into quantum weapons development. Projects that were shut down because they risked creating permanent damage to space-time itself. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed effects that challenged everything he knew about physics and reality. Stillwater's quantum manipulation technology wasn't just creating local anomalies. It was threatening to destabilize the fundamental forces that held the universe together. The implications struck him with chilling clarity. His skills with precision mechanics weren't just relevant to their operation, they were essential to preventing complete reality breakdown. The same principles he used to create perfect timing in his toys could be applied to stabilizing quantum effects and preventing cascade failures. But first, he had to stop them from pushing these experiments further. Because each demonstration, each new test of their technology risked creating distortions that could spread beyond any possibility of control. As Stillwater's teams continued their quantum manipulation demonstrations, Marcus activated a hidden system within his workshop, one that had nothing to do with toy making. Specialized dampening fields, originally designed for containing explosive forces, began generating counter-frequencies to the reality distortions. His years of experience with precision mechanics hadn't just taught him how to craft delicate toys. Every intricate gear system, every perfectly calibrated movement in his creations had been practiced for something else, understanding how to control and counteract complex chain reactions. Through his workshop's concealed monitoring stations, Marcus observed the quantum dampening fields taking effect. Areas where reality had begun to destabilize, slowly normalized, fundamental forces gradually returning to their natural states. But he knew this was only a temporary solution. His encrypted phone lit up with tactical updates. His military contact analyzed your workshop schematics. The dampening system you installed, it's based on classified containment technology. You've been preparing for something like this. Chen. Strange phenomena starting to recede in affected areas. Whatever you're doing, it's working. But Stillwater's bringing in more equipment. Tommy's father, the quantum interference patterns are shifting. Your countermeasures are creating stable zones where normal physics still applies. Kane noticed the change immediately, his expression shifting from confidence to calculated interest. Dampening fields, he observed, checking readings on his specialized equipment. Military grade, but modified. You've adapted explosion containment. Technology to counter quantum effects. Impressive. Marcus moved carefully through his workshop, each step precise and measured. His apparent random placement of toys and tools over the years had been anything but random. Every shelf, every workbench, every seemingly decorative piece had been positioned to create a sophisticated counter-response network. The mechanical toys, Kane continued, studying a nearby shelf with new understanding. They're not just for show, are they? Each one contains components that can generate specific frequencies, a distributed containment system disguised as children's playthings. Through his security feeds, Marcus watched Stillwater's technical teams adjusting their equipment, trying to compensate for his countermeasures. But they'd made a crucial mistake. They assumed they were dealing with simple dampening fields, not understanding that Marcus had spent years developing something far more sophisticated. His phone vibrated with new intelligence, his FBI contact. Their equipment signatures show they're preparing to escalate. Whatever you're doing has them concerned enough to abandon testing protocols. A quantum physics expert, the stability patterns you're generating, they're not just containing the effects, they're creating resonance frequencies that could be used to redirect quantum manipulation. An anonymous warning. They'll try to overpower your containment system, but that's not their real goal. Watch for secondary effects. Through his workshop's specialized sensors, Marcus detected new patterns emerging. Stillwater wasn't just testing their quantum technology anymore. They were actively probing his defenses, looking for weaknesses they could exploit. 20 years of toy making, Marcus spoke carefully, monitoring their reactions through hidden cameras. Teaches you a lot about precision control, how small adjustments can create cascading effects, how to balance complex systems with microscopic accuracy. Kane's smile showed genuine appreciation. And every toy, every mechanical wonder you've created has been building toward this moment, preparing defenses against technology you knew would eventually emerge. The perfect cover. Who would suspect a Toymaker's workshop of containing military-grade countermeasures? Marcus's monitoring systems highlighted new energy signatures. As Stillwater's teams deployed additional equipment, they were setting up what appeared to be quantum amplification arrays, technology designed to overwhelm conventional containment systems. But Marcus had prepared for this too. Each seemingly innocent toy in his workshop contained specialized components that could be activated in sequence, creating overlapping fields of stabilized space-time. The same precision that made his mechanical creations work could be used to maintain reality's fundamental constants. His encrypted phone delivered tactical updates. Chen. More still-water vehicles arriving at the warehouse. They're unloading what looks like heavy energy projection equipment. His military contact, those amplification arrays, they're based on experimental designs for quantum weapon systems. Technology that was abandoned because it couldn't be properly controlled. Tommy, Mr. Fletcher, the mechanical soldiers you gave me for my collection, they're aligning themselves toward the warehouse district. Dad says they're responding to quantum field fluctuations. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed patterns that confirmed his strategic planning. Stillwater's quantum manipulation technology was powerful, but it relied on precise control of fundamental forces, the same forces that his years of work with mechanical toys had taught him to understand and influence. Kane moved to activate another piece of their advanced equipment, but hesitated as his sensors detected something unexpected. These resonance patterns, he studied his readings with growing curiosity. They're not random. You've created a geometric web of stabilization fields, haven't you? Using the precise spacing of your workshop's contents to generate interference patterns. Marcus allowed himself a small smile as he activated another layer of his defense system. Throughout the workshop, seemingly decorative mechanical displays began moving in perfect synchronization, each motion precisely calibrated to generate specific counter-frequencies to Stillwater's quantum effects. His phone buzzed with new observations. A quantum mechanics researcher. The stability patterns you're generating, they're creating a self-reinforcing network of normal space-time, areas where quantum manipulation becomes exponentially more difficult. Chen, whatever you're doing, it's working. The reality distortions are being contained within specific boundaries, but Stillwater's bringing in something big from their warehouse. His FBI contact. Their response patterns suggest you've surprised them. They didn't expect to encounter organized resistance to quantum-level manipulation. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched their technical teams scrambling to adjust their approach. They'd come expecting to demonstrate their power over fundamental forces, not realizing they were walking into a carefully prepared defensive grid. You understand what we're really offering, don't you? Kane spoke, his voice carrying that particular tone of someone reassessing their tactical position. This isn't just about protection money or territorial control. We're at the forefront of a technological revolution, the ability to manipulate reality itself. Marcus continued activating his countermeasures in careful sequence. Each mechanical toy, each precisely placed tool, each seemingly random arrangement in his workshop began contributing to a growing pattern of stabilized space-time. What you're offering, he replied calmly, is power without understanding, technology that risks unraveling the fabric of reality itself. Did your corporate backers tell you about the cascade failures? The zones where quantum manipulation created permanent damage to space-time? His monitoring systems detected new energy signatures as Stillwater's teams prepared to escalate their demonstration. But Marcus had spent years preparing for this moment, turning his entire workshop into a sophisticated containment and counter-response system. The same principles that allowed him to create perfect mechanical movements in his toys. Precise timing, careful calibration, balanced forces could be applied to maintaining the stability of reality itself. Each intricate gear system, each perfectly spaced component in his workshop had been designed with dual purposes. Kane's expression showed growing realization as his sensors detected the true sophistication of Marcus's preparations. You haven't just been containing our quantum effects. He studied his readings with new respect. You're actively generating counter-frequencies, turning our own manipulation attempts against us. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus watched patterns emerging that vindicated years of careful planning. Stillwater's technology was powerful, but it relied on predictable interactions with fundamental forces. The same forces that his work with precision mechanics had taught him to understand and control. His encrypted phone delivered final tactical updates before the confrontation moved to its next phase. His military contact: they're preparing to bypass your containment grid, but doing so will require them to push their quantum manipulation to dangerous levels. Chen. Marcus, something's happening at their warehouse. Energy readings are off the charts, whatever they're planning to bring. Against your defenses, Tommy's father, the quantum interference patterns are shifting. They're about to attempt something that could destabilize everything you've prepared for. Marcus knew the real test was about to begin. Stillwater would soon discover that his workshop's defenses were more than just containment fields and counter-frequencies. Every toy, every mechanical display, every precisely calibrated device in his domain had been prepared to respond to quantum-level threats in ways they couldn't possibly anticipate. Your mechanical soldiers. Kane gestured toward a display of intricately crafted toy warriors, their tiny gears clicking in perfect synchronization. They're not just decorative, are they? Each one contains quantum resonance components, positioned to create overlapping fields of stabilized spacetime. Through his workshop's specialized sensors, Marcus detected new energy patterns emerging from Stillwater's equipment. They were attempting to overpower his defenses by increasing the intensity of their quantum manipulation. But this only triggered another layer of his prepared countermeasures. The mechanical soldiers began moving in complex patterns, each motion precisely calculated to generate interference frequencies that would disrupt quantum field manipulation. Years of crafting perfectly timed mechanical movements had taught Marcus exactly how to create cascading patterns of stabilized reality. His encrypted phone delivered new tactical insights. A quantum physics specialist. The resonance patterns. From your mechanical devices, they're creating a mathematical harmony that reinforces normal space-time, like a symphony that keeps reality in tune. Chen. Marcus, their warehouse is showing signs of massive power consumption. Whatever they're preparing, it's drawing enough energy to run a small city. His military contact. Your defensive grid isn't just containing their effects. It's actively learning and adapting to their manipulation attempts. How long have you been developing this? Through his hidden monitoring systems, Marcus observed Stillwater's technical teams growing increasingly. Frustrated, their quantum manipulation technology relied on being able to selectively alter fundamental forces, but his workshop had become a fortress of stabilized reality. Kane moved to another of Marcus's displays, a complex clockwork display showing the solar system in motion. These astronomical calculations, he studied the precise movements with new understanding. They're not just for show. You're using celestial mechanics principles to generate counter-frequencies to quantum manipulation. Marcus activated another layer of his defense grid. Throughout the workshop, seemingly innocent mechanical displays began working in concert, each one contributing to an expanding field of quantum stability. The same principles that made his toys work with perfect precision were now being used. To maintain the fabric of reality itself, his phone buzzed with urgent updates. An anonymous physicist. The stabilization patterns you're generating, they're creating a self-reinforcing network that actually strengthens normal physical laws. Like an immune system for reality itself. Chen. Local scientific instruments are showing unprecedented readings. Your workshop has become a beacon of stable space-time in a sea of quantum fluctuations. Tommy. Mr. Fletcher. The mechanical chess set you made for the school's science lab. All the pieces are orienting toward your workshop, responding to some kind of resonance pattern. Through his specialized equipment, Marcus detected new attempts by Stillwater's teams to bypass his defenses. They were trying to create localized points of quantum instability, hoping to find weak spots in his preparation. But each toy, each mechanical wonder in his workshop had been positioned with exactly this kind of attack in mind. The precision, Kane noted, watching another of Marcus's displays activate in response to their probing. It's beyond military grade. You've turned toy making into an art form of quantum defense. Every gear, every spring, every component placed with microscopic accuracy to generate specific counter-frequencies. Marcus's monitoring systems highlighted new energy signatures as Stillwater's teams deployed what appeared to be their most advanced equipment yet. But even this played into his preparations. Each attempt to escalate their quantum manipulation only triggered more sophisticated responses from his workshop's defensive grid. His encrypted phone delivered strategic updates, his FBI contact. Their power consumption patterns suggest they're preparing to attempt something unprecedented, but your containment systems are forcing them to expose their capabilities. A quantum mechanics expert, the stability field you've created, it's not just defensive. It's actually strengthening the fundamental constants of reality in your area, making quantum manipulation exponentially more difficult. Through his hidden cameras, Marcus watched patterns emerging that validated years of careful planning. Stillwater's technology was powerful, but it relied on being able to selectively weaken the fabric of reality. His workshop had become a bastion of reinforced space-time, where normal physical laws were actively maintained and strengthened. You've turned the entire workshop into a quantum stability engine, Kane realized, studying readings from their increasingly frustrated attempts to overcome Marcus's defenses. Every toy, every display, every mechanical device contributes to a symphony of reality enforcement. Marcus continued activating his countermeasures in precise sequence. Each mechanical creation in his workshop had been designed with dual purposes, bringing joy to children while secretly containing components that could help maintain the stability of reality itself. The same principles that allowed him to create perfect mechanical movements, precise timing, careful calibration, balanced forces, were now being used to protect the fundamental constants of the universe from manipulation. His years of toy making hadn't just been about crafting playthings. They had been preparation for defending reality itself. The workshop's warning systems flashed urgent alerts as massive power signatures erupted from Stillwater's warehouse. Through his monitoring equipment, Marcus detected what looked like a quantum surge building, energy patterns that threatened to overwhelm even his carefully prepared defenses. "Impressive containment grid," Kane commented, activating a device that pulsed with otherworldly energy. "But let's see how it handles our latest breakthrough." He gestured to his technical teams. "Full power to the reality phase shifters. Show our friend what happens when we stop playing nice." The air itself seemed to crystallize as Stillwater's quantum manipulation technology reached full capacity. Reality began to fragment around the workshop's perimeter, normal space-time breaking down into a kaleidoscope of possible states. Marcus's phone buzzed with critical warnings. His quantum physics contact. "These energy signatures, they're attempting to create a total phase separation, trying to isolate your workshop in a bubble of altered reality." "Marcus, the effects are visible from downtown. The air around your workshop looks like shattered glass. What are they doing?" Tommy's father. "My instruments are showing impossible readings. They're generating enough power to destabilize fundamental forces across the entire region." Through his specialized sensors, Marcus watched their attack unfold. Stillwater's teams had deployed what appeared to be quantum phase amplifiers, technology designed to force localized reality to accept new physical laws. The air around his workshop began to shimmer with competing possibilities, but Marcus had prepared for this too. Throughout his domain, mechanical toys began activating in careful sequence. Each precisely calibrated movement generated counter-frequencies that helped maintain normal space-time against the quantum assault. "Your defenses are remarkable," Kane observed, studying readings from their equipment. "But they have limits. Everything has limits." He adjusted controls on their primary device, and reality itself screamed in protest. The workshop's walls began to fluctuate, solid matter trying to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Windows showed views of different possible timelines, each one a variant of the present moment. The very foundation of physical existence was being challenged. Marcus's encrypted phone delivered urgent updates. His FBI contact. These power levels match theoretical models for quantum weapons designed to alter the fundamental structure of reality itself. They're not just trying to break your defenses, they're trying to rewrite the laws of physics in your area. A quantum mechanics expert. The phase separation they're attempting could create permanent damage to local space-time. If those effects spread, an anonymous warning, their corporate backers provided technology that shouldn't exist yet. Prototype systems for rewriting reality at the quantum level, but they haven't solved the cascade problem. Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus detected new patterns emerging in their attack. Stillwater wasn't just trying to overwhelm his defenses, they were attempting to create a zone where they had complete control over fundamental forces. "You see what we're offering now?" Kane's voice carried over the rising quantum disruption. "The power to decide which laws of physics apply, to rewrite reality itself according to our needs. Your mechanical precision combined with our quantum technology, we could revolutionize everything." Marcus activated another layer of his workshop's defenses. Hidden mechanisms within the walls began moving in precise patterns, generating stabilization fields that helped maintain normal space-time against the quantum assault. Each component had been carefully calibrated for exactly this kind of attack. His phone vibrated with tactical updates. "Chen, the warehouse is drawing power from the entire grid. Whatever they're powering up is affecting utility systems across town," his military contact. "These attack patterns suggest they're using prototype quantum weapons developed for reality warfare, technology that was banned because it risked creating permanent tears in space-time. Tommy, Mr. Fletcher, all your mechanical creations across town are moving in sync. The toy soldiers, the clockwork displays, they're all responding to some kind of signal." Through his specialized equipment, Marcus observed the true scope of Stillwater's assault. They weren't just attacking his workshop, they were attempting to create a permanent zone of altered reality, a space where they could demonstrate complete control over fundamental forces. But they'd made a crucial mistake. Their quantum manipulation technology relied on being able to selectively weaken the fabric of reality. Marcus's defenses weren't just trying to resist these effects, they were actively strengthening the normal laws of physics. Kane noticed something was wrong when their initial assault failed to breach Marcus's defensive grid. "These readings don't make sense." He studied their monitors with growing concern. "Your countermeasures aren't just blocking our quantum effects, they're actually reinforcing normal space-time." Marcus allowed himself a small smile as he activated the next phase of his defense. Throughout the workshop, mechanical displays began moving in complex patterns, each motion precisely timed to generate specific frequencies. The same principles that made his toys work with perfect precision were now being used to maintain the stability of reality itself. His encrypted phone delivered critical updates. Quantum physics researcher. The resonance patterns from your mechanical devices. They're creating a harmony that strengthens normal physical laws, like a symphony that keeps reality in tune. Chen. Something's happening to their quantum field. Generators. The effects seem to be backing up, creating feedback in their own systems. His FBI contact. Their power consumption is reaching critical levels. They're having to use more and more energy just to maintain their reality manipulation. Effects. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched patterns emerging that validated years of careful planning. Stillwater's technology was powerful, but it relied on predictable interactions with fundamental forces, the same forces that his work with precision mechanics had taught him to understand and control. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Kane's voice carried an edge of desperation as their quantum manipulation attempts continued to fail. This technology represents the future of warfare, of security, of power itself, the ability to rewrite reality according to our needs. Marcus continued activating his countermeasures in careful sequence. Each toy, each mechanical wonder in his workshop had been designed with dual purposes, bringing joy to children while secretly containing components that could help maintain the stability of reality itself. What you're dealing with, Marcus replied calmly, watching their quantum field generators begin to overload, is technology you can't properly control. The same precision that makes my toys work tells me your systems are approaching critical instability. His monitoring systems detected growing disruption patterns in Stillwater's equipment. Their attempts to force quantum phase separation were creating feedback loops, the energy having nowhere to go, as Marcus's defenses continued to reinforce normal space-time. Kane's expression showed the first signs of real concern as their readings went critical. "Shut it down," he ordered his technical teams. "Full power down before—" The warning came too late. Their quantum manipulation technology, unable to overcome Marcus's reality reinforcement grid, began to collapse in on itself. The air around their equipment crystallized with competing possibilities as their attempt to rewrite physics backfired spectacularly. Reality fractured around their failing equipment, creating prismatic shards of space-time that reflected different versions of the present moment. Through his specialized sensors, Marcus watched as their quantum field generators reached critical instability. "Emergency protocols!" Kane shouted to his technical teams, but the cascade effect had already begun. Their attempts to force quantum phase separation had created a feedback loop, the energy trapped between Marcus's reinforced reality and their own manipulation fields. His encrypted phone erupted with urgent alerts. A quantum physics expert. "The feedback is creating a quantum resonance cascade. Their equipment is trying to exist in multiple states simultaneously." "Chen, Marcus, we're seeing reality fractures spreading from their position. The air itself looks like broken mirrors, each piece showing something different." His military contact. "These energy patterns match theoretical models for catastrophic quantum field collapse. Get out of there. The whole area could become a permanent reality distortion zone." Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus observed the deteriorating situation. Stillwater's quantum manipulation technology wasn't just failing, it was failing in a way that threatened to create permanent damage to local spacetime. "Your containment fields," Kane's voice carried barely controlled panic as he studied their critical readings. "They're not just blocking our effects, they're reflecting them back at us, amplifying our own quantum manipulation attempts." Marcus activated his workshop's final defensive layer. Throughout the building, mechanical displays began moving in precise synchronization, generating stabilization frequencies that could help contain the growing quantum cascade. His phone buzzed with mounting urgency. His FBI contact. "Their equipment signatures are showing signs of total quantum state collapse." If those effects aren't contained, they could create a permanent reality fracture. Tommy. Mr. Fletcher, your mechanical soldiers across town are all pointing toward the warehouse. Dad says they're responding to some kind of quantum disturbance. A quantum mechanics researcher. The resonance patterns from your defenses, they might be the only thing preventing a complete breakdown of local physical laws. Through his specialized equipment, Marcus detected new patterns emerging in the quantum cascade. The energy from Stillwater's failed manipulation attempt was creating zones where reality itself became uncertain, areas where multiple possible states tried to exist simultaneously. Kane moved desperately between their failing devices, attempting to prevent total system collapse. "This isn't possible," he muttered, watching their quantum field generators spiral further into instability. The technology was supposed to be foolproof. "Nothing involving quantum manipulation is foolproof," Marcus replied calmly, continuing to adjust his defensive grid. "The same precision that makes my toys work tells me your systems weren't properly calibrated for feedback scenarios." His monitoring systems highlighted growing distortion patterns throughout the workshop. Stillwater's equipment was generating effects that threatened to tear holes in the fabric of reality itself. But Marcus had prepared for even this possibility. His encrypted phone delivered critical updates. Chen. The warehouse's power signature is going critical. Whatever's happening in there is affecting power grids across the entire region. His military. Contact. These energy readings suggest their quantum manipulation technology is approaching total phase collapse. The results could rewrite local reality permanently. A theoretical physicist. Your mechanical countermeasures might be the only thing preventing a complete breakdown of fundamental forces in the affected area. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched as Stillwater's technical teams struggled to contain their failing equipment. Each attempt to shut down their quantum field generators only seemed to make the situation worse, creating new fractures in local space-time. The corporate backers, Marcus spoke carefully while adjusting his containment frequencies, they didn't tell you about the cascade scenarios, did they? What happens when quantum manipulation technology encounters organized resistance? Kane's expression showed growing realization as their readings continued to deteriorate. The theoretical models didn't show this possibility. The simulations were never suggested, because they didn't account for someone understanding both quantum mechanics and precision engineering, Marcus explained, watching his defensive grid work to contain the growing reality distortions. The same principles that make a perfect toy movement can be used to maintain stable spacetime. His monitoring systems detected new anomalies forming around Stillwater's failing equipment. The quantum cascade was creating zones where different physical laws tried to apply simultaneously, areas where the fundamental forces of the universe began to break down. Through his specialized sensors, Marcus observed patterns that validated his years of preparation. Stillwater's technology was powerful, but it relied on being able to maintain controlled quantum states. When those states became unstable, the results threatened reality itself. "Your workshop," Kane realized, watching Marcus's mechanical devices working in perfect synchronization to contain the quantum cascade. It's not just a defensive grid. It's a quantum stability engine. Every toy, every display, every precise movement generates frequencies that reinforce normal space-time. Marcus continued adjusting his countermeasures, each calibration precise and measured. The same skills that allowed him to create perfect mechanical movements were now being used to prevent a complete breakdown of physical law. His encrypted phone delivered final warnings, a quantum physics specialist. The cascade effect is approaching a critical threshold. If their equipment fully collapses, it could create a permanent zone where normal reality ceases to function. Chen. Marcus, the reality fractures are starting to affect critical infrastructure. We need to contain this before it spreads beyond the workshop area. His FBI contact, their corporate backers are going to have a lot of explaining to do. This kind of quantum manipulation technology wasn't supposed to exist outside theoretical research. Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus watched as the situation approached its critical point. The quantum cascade from Stillwater's failing equipment was creating distortions that threatened to permanently damage the fabric of reality itself. As Marcus's workshop systems worked to contain Stillwater's quantum cascade failure, his specialized sensors detected new energy signatures emerging from their warehouse. These weren't from their failing equipment. They were different, more sophisticated, suggesting technology far beyond even what they demonstrated. His encrypted phone lit up with urgent intelligence. His FBI contact just decoded transmissions from their facility. They're reporting to someone called Project Architect, references to something called Reality Reformation Protocol, Chen. Marcus, intercepted communications suggest the warehouse operation is just a test site. They've got similar facilities in 12 other locations across 3 states. Tommy's father, the university's quantum research lab, received a classified warning. Something about coordinate facilities and synchronized reality modification. Through his monitoring systems, Marcus observed patterns that painted a disturbing picture. The quantum manipulation technology wasn't just for demonstration or intimidation. It was part of something much larger and more dangerous. Your corporate backers, Marcus spoke carefully while adjusting his containment fields. Quantum Shift Technologies isn't really a private company, is it? It's a front for something else. Kane's expression shifted subtly as their equipment continued. To destabilize, you've done your research, but you're only seeing the surface. This goes deeper than corporate interests or military applications. Marcus's workshop sensors highlighted new data streaming from their failing devices. Among the quantum distortions and reality fractures, there were patterns that suggested predetermined protocols, carefully planned responses to specific scenarios. Project Architect, Marcus probed, watching Kane's reaction through hidden cameras. They're not just developing quantum manipulation technology. They're preparing for something specific. Something that requires coordinated reality modification across multiple locations, Kane laughed. But there was an edge of desperation as their equipment spiraled further into instability. You think this is about weapons, about power? We're trying to save reality itself. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus detected new energy signatures emerging from their warehouse. Not chaos from failing systems, but precise patterns suggesting sophisticated quantum architecture. His phone buzzed with critical updates. A quantum physics researcher, these aren't random effects from equipment failure. The patterns suggest they're testing responses to specific types of reality breakdown. Chen, getting reports of similar energy signatures from facilities across the country, all activated within the last hour. His military contact. Project Architect. It's classified beyond top secret. Something about preventive measures against reality decay. Marcus's tactical mind raced through implications as his workshop's defenses continued containing the quantum cascade. The precision of their technology, the coordinated facilities, the specific testing protocols. They were preparing for something catastrophic. Reality decay, Marcus stated, pieces clicking into place. Your quantum manipulation technology isn't the goal. It's preparation for something worse. Something that's already happening to fundamental forces. Kane's facade finally cracked as their equipment approached critical failure. The universe is coming apart at the seams, he revealed, voice tight with controlled fear. Subtle at first. War, changes in fundamental constants, variations in physical laws. By the time conventional science noticed, it was already spreading. Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus observed new patterns emerging in the quantum distortions, not just chaos from failing equipment, but echoes of larger disturbances in the fabric of reality itself. His encrypted phone delivered urgent confirmations. His FBI contact, classified research data, shows increasing instability in fundamental physical constants, changes too small for conventional detection, but accelerating. A quantum mechanics expert. The patterns you're seeing, they match theoretical models for spontaneous breakdown of universal constants. Reality itself is becoming unstable. An anonymous warning. Project Architect isn't trying to develop new technology. They're desperately searching for ways to prevent complete reality failure. Marcus's specialized sensors detected subtle anomalies he'd previously attributed to equipment interference. Tiny fluctuations in gravitational forces, microscopic variations in electromagnetic fields, quantum states that shouldn't be possible in normal space-time. The protection racket, the territorial expansion, Marcus analyzed, while maintaining his containment fields. You're not building an operation. You're creating a network of reality stabilization points, preparing for when the decay becomes visible. Kane moved to a specialized case, revealing documents that made Marcus's military-trained instincts surge with recognition. Research data, stability measurements, projected breakdown patterns, evidence of reality itself beginning to unravel. Your mechanical precision. Kane gestured to the workshop's synchronized defenses, still working to contain their quantum cascade. That's why we really came here. Your understanding of precise forces, perfect timing, balanced systems, it's exactly what Project Architect needs. Through his hidden cameras, Marcus watched patterns emerging that validated these disturbing revelations. Stillwater's quantum manipulation technology wasn't just about power or control. It was an attempt to develop countermeasures against fundamental reality decay. His phone vibrated with mounting confirmations. A theoretical physicist. The stabilization, frequencies from your mechanical devices, they're actually helping maintain normal space-time against background reality fluctuations. Jen, getting reports of similar facilities activating worldwide, all using technology designed to manipulate and stabilize quantum states. His military contact, Project Architect's true purpose, developing ways to reinforce reality itself. Before the decay becomes catastrophic, Marcus's workshop sensors detected subtle harmonics in the quantum distortions, patterns that suggested reality itself was becoming increasingly unstable, the same precision that allowed him to create. Perfect mechanical movements might be key to preventing complete universal breakdown. The corporate backing, the military-grade equipment, Marcus continued analyzing while adjusting his containment grid. You're trying to establish stability points before the decay reaches critical levels, using quantum manipulation to reinforce failing universal constants. Kane's expression showed grim confirmation as their systems continued deteriorating. Reality isn't just coming apart, it's accelerating. Each breakdown makes the next one more likely. Without intervention, the entire universe will eventually lose cohesion. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed new patterns that supported this terrifying revelation. The quantum cascade from their failing equipment wasn't just creating local reality distortions, it was exposing underlying instabilities in space-time itself. His encrypted phone delivered final confirmations. A quantum physics expert. The decay is exponential. Once it reaches visible levels, conventional physical laws will begin breaking down across entire regions. Chen. Similar facilities worldwide are reporting increasing strain on their stability systems. Whatever's happening, to reality it's getting worse. His FBI contact, Project Architect, estimates total reality failure within decades unless they can establish enough reinforcement points. Marcus's tactical mind raced through implications while maintaining his workshop's defenses. The precision, mechanical skills he'd developed weren't just useful for containing quantum effects. They might be essential for helping prevent complete reality breakdown. Through hidden observation points, he watched patterns emerging that validated everything. Stillwater's aggressive expansion, their sophisticated technology, their interest in his mechanical expertise, all part of a desperate attempt to prevent universal collapse. Your workshop's defenses, Kane noted, studying readings from their failing equipment, they're not just containing our quantum manipulation, they're actually strengthening local space-time, reinforcing normal physical laws. Marcus continued, adjusting his containment systems with precise calibration. The same principles that allowed him to create perfect mechanical movements in toys could be applied to maintaining the stability of reality itself. As Marcus's workshop systems continued, stabilizing local space-time, his secure communications network activated with incoming signals from across the globe. The revelation of Project Architect and Universal Decay had triggered responses from others who'd been watching the situation. His encrypted phone lit up with new contacts. Dr. Sarah Chen Martinez, Quantum Physics Division at CERN, your mechanical stabilization techniques. They match patterns we've observed in natural reality anchors, places where space-time maintains unusual stability. Professor James Morrison, Tommy's father, the university's physics department just received classified briefings about reality decay. They're requesting data from your workshop's containment systems. Director Alexandra Rivers, previously unknown. Government agency. Mr. Fletcher, your experience with precision mechanics could be crucial for Project Architect's stabilization efforts. Through his specialized sensors, Marcus detected new quantum signatures approaching his workshop. Not hostile forces, but specialized teams equipped with advanced monitoring equipment, drawn by the unique stability patterns his defenses were generating. Kane watched these developments with growing interest as their own systems continued their controlled shutdown. You see now why we need you. Your understanding of mechanical precision, combined with Project Architect's quantum technology, we might actually have a chance. Marcus's workshop sensors highlighted incoming data streams from multiple sources. Research facilities worldwide were sharing information about reality decay, comparing notes on stabilization techniques, seeking ways to reinforce failing universal constants. Your approach was wrong, Marcus stated while adjusting his containment fields, forcing quantum manipulation through intimidation that only risked accelerating the decay. We need coordination, not coercion. His phone buzzed with mounting responses, a network of independent researchers. Your mechanical stabilization frequencies, they could be replicated using modified industrial equipment, a way to create distributed reality reinforcement. Chen, international physics labs are reporting similar decay patterns. They're requesting your precision calibration protocols. His military contact. Project Architect is restructuring. Your containment success has them rethinking their entire approach to reality stabilization. Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus observed patterns emerging that suggested new possibilities. His mechanical expertise combined with global scientific resources might offer solutions they hadn't considered. Dr. Chen Martinez's voice carried clear authority over the secure channel. Your workshop stability field is unique, Mr. Fletcher. The way you've integrated precision, mechanics with quantum effects, it's showing results our most advanced facilities haven't achieved. Marcus continued maintaining his containment grid while analyzing incoming data. The same principles he used to create perfect mechanical movements could be adapted for larger-scale reality reinforcement. His encrypted phone delivered strategic proposals. The quantum physics network, With your calibration techniques and our research facilities, we could develop standardized stability systems. Professor Morrison, the university is offering full resources. Your mechanical expertise combined with our theoretical work could revolutionize reality reinforcement. Director Rivers, project architect needs to shift from containment to coordination. Your workshop proves there are better approaches than quantum manipulation alone. Through his specialized equipment, Marcus detected subtle harmonics in the stability patterns, frequencies that could be reproduced using modified industrial machinery. A way to create widespread reality reinforcement without relying on exotic quantum technology. The precision timing in your toys, Kane observed, studying the workshop's synchronized defenses. It's not just about mechanical movement. You've discovered fundamental frequencies that help maintain stable space-time. Marcus's monitoring systems highlighted new possibilities as data poured in from global research teams. His understanding of precision mechanics combined with worldwide scientific resources could offer solutions Project Architect hadn't considered. His phone vibrated with coordinated responses. International Physics Consortium. Your mechanical stabilization techniques could be adapted for existing industrial infrastructure, a way to create reality reinforcement networks using modified factory equipment. Chen, local manufacturing facilities are offering resources. We could start implementing your stability protocols immediately. His military contact, Project Architect, is interested in your distributed approach, using precision mechanics to create widespread reality reinforcement instead of concentrated quantum manipulation. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched patterns emerging that validated this new direction. Small-scale precision mechanics, properly calibrated and coordinated, might be more effective than brute-force quantum technology. Your corporate backers, Marcus addressed Kane while adjusting his containment systems. They focused on concentrated power, trying to force reality compliance through quantum manipulation. But the solution isn't control, it's coordination. Kane studied readings from their stabilizing equipment with growing understanding. The mechanical precision you use in toys, it creates natural harmony with fundamental forces. No need for exotic technology or reality manipulation. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed how his workshop's defensive grid maintained stability through precise calibration rather than raw power. A model that could be reproduced using modified industrial systems. His encrypted phone delivered strategic confirmations. Dr. Chen Martinez. Your stability frequencies match natural patterns we've observed in particularly stable regions. We could use existing infrastructure to amplify these effects. Professor Morrison, the university's engineering department confirms your mechanical approach could be implemented using standard industrial equipment. Director Rivers, Project Architect is reviewing your data. Your precision-based stability model could revolutionize our entire approach to reality reinforcement. Marcus's tactical mind raced through implications while maintaining his containment field. Global coordination of precision mechanics, properly calibrated and synchronized, could create a network of reality reinforcement that worked with natural forces instead of trying to control them. Through hidden observation points, he watched patterns emerging that supported this new direction. His workshop's stable space-time wasn't achieved through exotic technology or quantum manipulation, but through precise mechanical movements working in harmony with fundamental forces. Your methods, Kane noted, studying the workshop's synchronized defenses with new appreciation, they're not just more effective, they're more sustainable, no risk of cascade failures or reality fractures. Marcus continued adjusting his systems with careful precision. The same principles that allowed him to create perfect mechanical movements could be adapted worldwide, using existing infrastructure to help stabilize failing universal constants. The workshop's warning systems suddenly flashed red as new quantum signatures appeared on Marcus's monitoring equipment. These weren't from Stillwater's contained technology or the arriving scientific teams. They were something else entirely, more aggressive and unstable. His encrypted phone erupted with urgent alerts. Dr. Chen Martinez. Multiple reality fractures. Detected approaching your location. Someone's using unshielded quantum manipulation technology, Professor Morrison. University sensors are detecting massive distortions in local space-time. Whatever's coming, it's orders of magnitude beyond Stillwater's equipment. Director Rivers. Rogue elements within Project Architect. They disagree with the new coordination approach. They're coming to seize your stability technology by force. Through his specialized sensors, Marcus detected what looked like tears in the fabric of reality itself. Whoever was approaching wasn't bothering with controlled quantum manipulation. They were brutally forcing their way through normal space-time. Kane's expression shifted to genuine alarm as he checked readings on their stabilized equipment. Echo Division, he muttered, Project Architect's militant faction. They believe aggressive reality manipulation is the only solution. Marcus's workshop sensors highlighted approaching distortion patterns that made Stillwater's technology look primitive by comparison. These attackers weren't just manipulating quantum states. They were actively destroying local reality to achieve their goals. Your corporate backers didn't tell you everything, Marcus noted, while reinforcing his containment fields. There's internal conflict within Project Architect about how to handle reality decay. His phone buzzed with mounting warnings. International Physics Consortium. The quantum signatures match banned military research. Technology designed to weaponize reality breakdown. Chen. They're creating deliberate reality fractures to bypass normal space-time. Standard defenses won't stop them. His military contact, Echo Division, is a splinter group. They want to control reality decay instead of preventing it. See it as an opportunity for power. Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus observed patterns that confirmed these warnings. The approaching forces weren't interested in stability or coordination. They wanted to harness reality decay for their own purposes. Dr. Chen Martinez's voice crackled through secure channels. Mr. Fletcher, your mechanical stabilization techniques threaten their entire approach. They won't allow widespread implementation of a solution that removes their perceived advantage. Marcus continued adjusting his defenses while analyzing the new threat. His containment systems were designed for maintaining stable space-time, not defending against deliberate reality destruction. His encrypted phone delivered tactical updates. Quantum Physics Network. Echo Division's technology creates cascading reality failures. They use the breakdown to bypass normal physical laws. Professor Morrison, the university's sensors show they're approaching through multiply fractured space-time. Conventional physics doesn't apply to their movements. Director Rivers, they've weaponized reality to decay itself, using damaged space-time as a weapon while protecting themselves in artificial stability bubbles. Through his specialized equipment, Marcus detected how Echo Division's forces were approaching. They traveled through zones of broken reality, using the decay they created as both weapon and transport. They're insane, Kane stated, watching the readings with growing horror. Using reality breakdown as a weapon? The cascade effects could accelerate universal decay beyond any possibility of control. Marcus's monitoring systems highlighted the true danger of their approach. Each reality fracture they created spread instability through local space-time, potentially accelerating the very decay they claimed to be fighting. His phone vibrated with urgent strategies. International research. Teams. Your mechanical stability field might be the only defense against their reality fracture technology. Chen. Local scientific facilities are detecting reality breaks spreading from their approach vectors. They're leaving permanent damage in space-time. His military contact. Echo Division believes controlled reality decay is the future of power. They won't allow a solution that maintains universal stability. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched patterns emerging that showed the true scale of the threat. Echo Division wasn't just coming to seize his technology. They were coming to prevent any possibility of widespread reality stabilization. Your precision mechanics, Kane observed, while studying the approaching distortions, they don't just maintain stability, they actively repair reality damage. That's why Echo Division sees you as a threat. Marcus continued reinforcing his defenses with careful calibration. The same principles that allowed him to create perfect mechanical movements might be the key to countering weaponized reality decay. His encrypted phone delivered mounting intelligence. Dr. Chen Martinez. Their reality fracture technology creates permanent damage in spacetime. Each breakdown makes universal decay more likely. Professor Morrison. The university's quantum lab confirms they're using military prototype technology designed to weaponize reality instability. Director Rivers. Echo Division plans to control reality decay, selling stability to highest bidders, while maintaining power through manufactured breakdown. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed how Echo Division's forces manipulated damaged space-time. They traveled through zones of broken reality, using the decay as a weapon while preserving themselves in artificial stability. Fields. The corporate forces, Marcus analyzed while strengthening his containment grid, were never the real threat. Echo Division has been waiting, watching how we'd respond to Stillwater's operation. Kane's expression showed grim understanding as their readings tracked the approaching reality fractures. They'll destroy everything: local space-time, stability, research, any chance of coordinated response, all to maintain their perceived advantage over reality itself. Through his workshop sensors, Marcus detected how each reality break spread instability through surrounding space-time. Echo Division's technology wasn't just damaging local reality, it was potentially accelerating universal decay with every use. His encrypted phone delivered final warnings. International physics experts. The damage they're causing could create permanent reality dead zones, areas where normal physics can never be restored. Chen. Their approach is creating spreading instability patterns. Each fracture makes the next breakdown more likely. His military contact. Echo Division believes they can control reality decay through advanced quantum technology. They see your mechanical stability methods as a threat to their power. Marcus's tactical mind raced through implications while maintaining his defenses. Echo Division's weaponized reality decay posed a threat far beyond anything Stillwater had attempted, one that could accelerate universal breakdown beyond any hope of recovery. As Echo Division's reality fractures approached his workshop, Marcus activated systems that went far beyond simple stability maintenance. Throughout the building, mechanical devices began moving in complex new patterns, generating frequencies that actively repaired damaged spacetime. His encrypted phone lit up with strategic data. Dr. Chen Martinez. Your mechanical resonance patterns are actually healing reality breaks. The precision timing creates harmonics that restore normal physical laws. Professor Morrison. The university's sensors show your workshop becoming a beacon of reinforced space-time, a natural reality anchor point. Director Rivers. Echo Division's approach is slowing. Your stability field is making it harder for them to maintain their reality fractures. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus tracked how his defenses affected the approaching threat. Each precisely calibrated movement from his mechanical devices helped strengthen local space-time against Echo Division's weaponized decay. The toys, Kane realized, watching Marcus's systems work with new understanding. They're not just generating stability, they're creating resonance patterns that actively counter reality breakdown. Marcus's workshop sensors highlighted how his defensive grid was evolving. The same precision that made his mechanical creations work perfectly now served to maintain and repair the fabric of reality itself. Your entire operation, Marcus addressed Kane while adjusting his systems, was based on forcing reality compliance through quantum manipulation, but the real solution was always about working with natural forces, not against them. His phone buzzed with tactical updates. International physics teams, your mechanical repair frequencies are spreading through damaged areas, actually reversing some of Echo Division's reality fractures. Chen. Local space-time is showing signs of natural reinforcement. Your workshop is becoming a focal point for reality stabilization. His military contact. Echo Division's reality fracture technology relies on controlled breakdown. Your repair harmonics are disrupting their entire approach. Through his workshop's monitoring systems, Marcus observed how his defensive strategy was affecting the attackers. Echo Division's forces struggled to maintain their reality breaks against the spreading stability field. Dr. Chen Martinez's voice carried clear approval over secure channels. The precision timing in your mechanical devices, it's not just maintaining stable space-time. It's actually teaching reality how to repair itself. Marcus continued adjusting his systems while analyzing incoming data. Each mechanical movement, each perfectly timed operation contributed to a growing field of natural reality reinforcement. His encrypted phone delivered strategic confirmations. Quantum Physics Consortium. Your stability harmonics are creating cascade effects of their own, spreading natural reality reinforcement through damaged areas. Professor Morrison, the university's equipment shows your workshop generating patterns that strengthen fundamental forces, like an immune response against reality decay. Director Rivers. Echo Division never considered this possibility. Natural reality repair spreading through their artificial breakdown zones. Through his specialized sensors, Marcus detected how his defensive field was expanding. The precision-based stability wasn't just blocking Echo Division's weapons, it was actively reversing their reality fractures. They're losing control, Kane observed, studying readings from the approaching forces. Your mechanical repair harmonics are unraveling their quantum manipulation technology. Marcus's monitoring systems highlighted new patterns emerging in the conflict. Echo Division's weaponized decay relied on maintaining artificial reality breaks, but his workshop's natural stability field was showing them a fundamental flaw in their approach. His phone vibrated with tactical developments, international research teams. The repair frequencies from your mechanical devices are teaching local space-time how to resist artificial breakdown. Chen. Echo Division's reality fractures are failing faster than they can create new ones. Your stability field is too strong. His military contact. Their entire tactical advantage relied on controlling reality decay. Your natural repair methods are making that impossible. Through his workshop's hidden cameras, Marcus watched patterns emerging that validated his strategic approach. Small-scale precision mechanics, properly calibrated and coordinated, proved more effective than Echo Division's brute force reality manipulation. The mechanical timing, Marcus explained while strengthening his defenses, it doesn't just generate stability. It creates resonance patterns that remind space-time of its natural state, teaching reality how to heal itself. Kane studied the workshop's synchronized operations with growing appreciation. They never considered this possibility, natural reality reinforcement spreading through their artificial breakdown zones, undoing their weapons from within. Through his specialized monitoring equipment, Marcus observed how each mechanical device contributed to the growing stability field. Perfect timing and precision movements created harmonics that strengthened fundamental forces against artificial manipulation. His encrypted phone delivered mounting confirmations. Dr. Chen Martinez, your repair frequencies are showing exponential growth. Each stabilized area helps strengthen surrounding space-time. Professor Morrison, the university's quantum lab confirms your mechanical harmonics are creating self-reinforcing stability patterns. Director Rivers, Echo Division's entire approach is failing. Their reality fracture technology can't compete with natural space-time reinforcement. Marcus's tactical mind processed implications while maintaining his defenses. The precision mechanical skills he'd developed weren't just countering Echo Division's weapons, they were revealing a fundamental truth about reality itself. Through hidden observation points, he watched patterns emerging that showed the true power of his approach. Reality didn't need to be controlled or manipulated. It needed to be reminded of its natural stability through precise, coordinated movements that worked with fundamental forces. Your methods, Kane noted, watching Echo Division's forces struggle against the spreading stability field. They're not just more effective, they're teaching us something about reality itself, how to work with natural forces instead of trying to dominate them. Marcus continued adjusting his systems with careful precision. Each perfectly timed movement from his mechanical creations helped spread natural reality reinforcement further, creating a growing zone where Echo Division's artificial breakdown simply couldn't take hold. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hits the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.